Sunless Skies is available on Steam in its current early access form. A full release is expected to come out somewhere between 9 months or maybe a year if all goes well. The stated planned time frame is 9 months. Let's adjust that sound again. Goodness, this train's operation is loud. Not that I would really expect it not to be, mind you. There's that point of interest over to the east. I suppose in order to properly save, you need to reach some kind of port or something. Certainly the chunky hissing sounds while you are moving your train are somewhat frustrating. So this appears to just be some form of navigation buoy. I cannot collect it. A distant clamor of engine yards, an accretion of smog on the windows. Can I dock here? It seems like this is not the correct spot to dock. I did see on the Steam discussion board someone complaining about the controls and how floaty they could be. Now personally, I am not finding this all that difficult. Scamp's narrow. I didn't catch the subtitle there. However, I do find that clunking sound whenever I start or stop moving to be rather distracting. This looks like a bridge I can pass under, and it is. Victory Hall. Oh, that was experience game for finding it. I'm kind of looking for a tinted circle that might show me that I have a place to dock, because that's how it worked in Sunless Skies. I've got this lovely multi-layered area here. Somewhat drifty controls. If we've got forward momentum, then that will keep going. And here we are at New Winchester, so this is certainly intended to be home base. Load only. Can I dock here? Is this a thing that I can enter? Alright, so I want to land on this station platform. It's not just a circle. Fair enough, I'm riding a sky train. Also, take a look at that lovely parking job right there. Alright, so the controls are neat. No, wait, I don't want to go anywhere. Right, so don't use your WASD or your arrows for this. However, it does seem that we may be lacking a proper navigation bar, and if I mouse wheel it goes extremely slowly. So there are some options way down here that are somewhat difficult to get to. Abraham's Engineering, alright, just one. Does that mean we're at 1 Terra, or does that mean something else? We've got 10, which is a shield, 10 members on board. But in terms of fuel... Alright, you get the mouse over if you hover over the bar, but not the button. It might be a good idea to make that accessible for the button too. 4 barrels in hold, 21% remaining in current barrel. 4 supply crates in the hold, 14% in the current crate. Current condition is wary, at 0%. 1 is wary, apparently. Abraham's Engineering. Lovely artwork, although I do expect they'll probably be updating this little hub over here. Locomotive plating, improvements and refurbishments. An estimable choice. Jerusalem. I presume that 1 there means we've already got 1. Wherever there is a judgment. Effectively a locomotive-mounted blunderbuss, the emanation fires a mauling spread of munitions and is best employed at close range. It has been described as a proper blanker to reload. I think I understand what that's saying. Brass Raven, let the clouds pour down righteousness, a rapid-firing weapon popular with captains who value volume over precision. Be careful not to let it overheat. Once the thing's up to speed, you could fry eggs on it. Okay, so for each of these weapons, we have damage, range, and heat. So the Brass Raven, for instance, it says heat 4, this one says heat 8. So either that's in comparison to the more expensive weapons, or lower numbers mean they produce more heat. That's somewhat counterintuitive. That's got slightly less range than this, shows less damage and less heat. Okay, that would probably be per bullet on account of it saying that it's rapid firing. And if you click this over, you can buy multiple ones. But for why? Can you equip them at multiple levels? Sell items, what have I got? I have an expensive wardrobe, wherein one may keep one's stuff. Cozy cabins. Fold down bunks and some careful shift scheduling. You can squeeze a few more in. It will be snug, but that keeps the cold at bay. Okay, so I've got cozy cabins to hold +4 quarters, and I can get more of those here. Apparently everything that is available here is what we've already got. Bronzewood. Resilient, readily replaced at ports. Looks splendid. See it gleam. All this seems to be, I would expect it's fairly expensive. How much money do I have? That seems like an important question. How much money have I got? Ambition, wealth. Accrue a substantial fortune so that you may enjoy your retirement in the manner to which you mean to become accustomed. Raise enough capital that you can purchase a comfortable house in New Winchester and retire from the wonders of the heavens. Fair enough. How much do we have? We only have 50. That initial dispersal that we got included 50, and that's all we've got. Alright. Possessions. Sovereigns 50. That was Abraham's engineering. Right. The labor exchange. Crew. How many do you have aboard? 10. I currently have 10 crew. That's the crew. This presumably is the hull. 30 out of 30. Heat 0%. It really looks as though there wants to be something filling up this outer ring as well. And otherwise, the width of that is somewhat deceptive. Alright, so I can hire more crew here if I want to. I don't think I need to just yet. Free Winchester Bazaar. A sprawling market under the arches, thronged with bustling crowds and people by unscrupulous merchants. A state of nostalgic crockery. A crate of nostalgic crockery, fine London china, porcelain plates bearing the Empress's face, cups and saucers traced with roses. That's nostalgic crockery, alright. Carefully packed crate of munitions. Sometimes a crewman pretends he's going to drop one, it's still not funny. Bronzewood. The vast trees of the Reach. Bronzewood is prized for its durability and its gleaming resin. Pane of stained glass. The light of the high wilderness can enchant and derange. Colored glass helps keep it at bay. Caddy of dried tea, of course, as British as crinoline, or Lord Elgin's marbles. I am probably not pronouncing that right. I'm not British. It looks as though this is quite likely to be general cargo that, in theory, you could sell elsewhere. Okay, and I've got some. Sack of verdant seeds from which mighty trunks may grow, or any number of other things. The flora of the high wilderness is erratic. The sell buttons are grayed out, so maybe I don't have these. These are just the things that they will be happy to accept in trade. Chorister nectar. For tea drinkers it's a sweetener, for poets an inebriant, for singers it's an enhancement, widening the vocal range by a valuable semitone or two. Alright, that sounds like it's actually getting back to being a reference to the prisoner's honey from Fallen London. Fascinating. But I don't have any of these. Let's move on to Her Majesty's Emporium. And it seems that she can offer the chorister nectar and munitions as well. The prices that she's selling them for are exactly the same, it seems, as what the bazaar will buy them for, presumably so that you don't just impoverish yourself by buying things you can't sell at a profit and selling them back at a loss. Engine provisions. This could be important under the jurisdiction of the Assembly. The Skyfaring shop provides the absolute bare minimum. Of course. Why wouldn't it? The local headquarters of the Windward Company, London's proxy in the Reach. Deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win the company's favor. Following the uprising, the fortunes of the Windward Company fell in New Winchester. Okay, the uprising brought us to the skies? Now their modest offices occupy an ex-tinning factory in the murkier recesses of town. It continues to smell faintly of beans. So they're making jokes about it, the Windward Company. Several potential options here. We could chat with the prudent secretary. The foyer bristles with stovepipe hats. The prudent secretary pushes between them, narrow and unsmiling with a blousy shirt and black trousers, to learn how you can be of use to the company. Trade favor for salon stewed gossip. Your dealings with the company entitle you to the occasional afternoon tea with the fraught general manager. He has 6 sisters in London and can be relied on for scandalous gossip. If I have enough favor with the Windward Company, or I can trade it for ministry-stamped permits, the company keeps entire cabinets of them to smooth a variety of dealings with Albion. Okay, so we will be visiting Albion. Is that elsewhere within the Reach? Trade favor to affect the balance of power in the Reach. You have provided the company with a great deal of information. You would rather they used it to strengthen the Empire's hold. Interesting. We have no favor as yet. Presumably we can earn it. The Secretary's gender is the subject of some debate in the company canteen. The Secretary's prudence, however, is not. I would be interested to receive reports on events in other ports, however small. The company has expansive interests. One never knows what might be important. As you visit ports, you may obtain strategic information. Return it in at company house to receive rewards. Alright, looks like that's pretty much all we can do here. Has that been logged in our journal? No? Possessions, the hold. Ah, this would be a useful thing to look at. Our hold is only 10 units. We're currently holding 8. 4 and 4 of fuel and supplies. Presumably, we could, at some point, buy more cargo space. Officers! I have no officers. Young's found Victory Hall, New Winchester. Right, so this is the map, and it's got a lovely feathering effect, so as to obscure things that I have not seen without having sharp edges. Very smooth, somewhat chalky. And then there's my main menu options. So that was the company house. What's in at Victory Hall? The Assembly, a coalition of independent-minded settlers colloquially called Tacties, gather and argue here, deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win the Tacties' favor. Alright. Raised in the wake of the blockade of New Winchester. This magnificence of glass and steel houses the Colonial Assembly. Here representatives of the independent ports of the Reach gather and quarrel. Chat with the indurate veteran. She is taking a moment in the atrium, watching the stars burn coldly in the mists. So there's colonists seeking independence. Her skin is brown and her hair is beginning to gray. She wears a heavy, unbuttoned coat. Metals gleam in the shadows behind its lapels. One half of her face is scarred from frostbite. She's enjoying a quiet cigarillo, while her peers argue in the Chamber of Assembly, presumably a reference to Parliament. You talk for a while about life in the skies. When her cigarillo is just a stub, she says, "I'd be grateful to hear reports of your travels. I have a suspicion all manner of bleeperation is going to kick off in the foreseeable. I'd like to be expecting it." As you visit ports, you may obtain port reports. Turn them in at Victory Hall to receive rewards. Alright, and the Tacties are symbolized by that boot. Port reports can go to the Victory Hall. Strategic information will be desired at the company house. I get the distinct impression that these two are opposing factions. The Windward Company, I had a journal entry about this somewhere, didn't I? Not journal, profile. The Windward Company. Fortunes. Her Majesty longs to tighten the Empire's hold on the wilderness. Right. So they're trying to control the wilderness for the Empire. And at Victory Hall, they're seeking independence. So this is about the fate of the Reach. Will it be part of the Empire or will it be independent? And the more you work for the Tacties, the more it might be independent. The more you work for Windward Company, the more it is likely to be empirical. Wolvesey Station, the clamouring central station of New Winchester, a place of steam and smut and thundering iron. Here you can find people willing to pay for a skilled captain's service. The smoggy, clanking, singing, stamping, thronging, frantic heart of the Reach. A never-expanding port of soot-smudged glass and bright steel, spilling across a drifting, mist-wrapped archipelago. Its factories thunder, its engine sheds ring with hammers and hiss with steam, locomotives chug into sidings for repair, or flare across the sky and away into the high wilderness. There are several little opportunities here. Lovely. Speak with the seasoned captains at the engine yards, look for potential recruits, someone awaits you. Have your hull partially repaired. Fully repair your hull. This will cost no sovereigns. Can't do this when you have 29 hulls, so that might be why it will cost no sovereigns. Purchased a grand house. The retreat of London's forces has left many great houses empty. The governor of New Winchester leases them out when the coffers are running low. You would need a captivating treasure and licensed charts, 5 ministry stamped permits, of course, and 10 bronzewood. I thought the houses were already built. Perhaps that's just what you need in exchange. So you don't actually buy it with coin, you buy it with goods. You've lived enough. Now to enjoy the fruits of your labor, perhaps you'll have a library, perhaps a carriage, perhaps you'll stop cutting your own hair. This will complete your ambition and end this captain's career. Once you actually have the house, and 25,000 sovereigns. Okay, so first you get the house arranged, and then you retire with the money, although I really would have expected the house to cost money as well. Perhaps that will be adjusted later. Let's check out the fastidious inspector. Excuse me, Captain. A woman pushes through the crowds towards you. She is short and square-shouldered in a neat black suit and polished shoes. She shows you the case of her pocket watch. It is embossed with the crown and hourglass of London's horological office, the body responsible for ensuring time is consistent across the empire. I am hoping to book passage to Port Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Offer her passage. Pay sounds promising. Sure, Port Prosper. Let's see if we can find that. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down following a boiler rupture. The chief engineer's fault, I suspect. A gentleman fonder of brandy than of a diligence. Here, an initial sum to seal our bargain. Port Prosper lies a long way to the northeast of New Winchester. Not that there is such thing as a north out here, or indeed east. Instead, London cartographers picked 4 of the brighter, more reliable stars visible from the Empress's new palace, and named them north, east, south, and west. Londoners value familiarity. Alright, 50 more sovereigns as the beginning of our fee to take this lady to New Prosper, which is northeast, which I can expect to be in this general direction, I assume. And there is also an opportunity to transport a settler. My friend has been sending me postcards from Port Avon, and I've never seen anywhere so quaint. You must take me there. You wipe your hand on your trousers after shaking his disquietingly sweaty hand. This is it, isn't it? Leaving the safety of New Winchester, really going out into the world. Here we go then, eh? Settler wants to be taken to Port Avon, and I don't get to accept or refuse that one. Alright. Potential recruits is always someone looking to sign on. Well, why not? The station is clouded with smog. The soaring bridges are hidden behind a thick blanket of fog. Faces loom out of the grey. That's very much reminiscent of the way things used to go in fallen London. Promising recruits crowd the station looking for work from incoming captains. Recruit a quartermaster. Someone is loitering sheepishly by your locomotive. This will get you a placeholder quartermaster. Will increase your veils by 3, your mirrors by 1, and your affiliation boheme by 1. Nobody here of interest. Perhaps another time, another face. This will reset your new face at the station, so that when you return in a month, you will not see the same old faces. Well, let's recruit a quartermaster. Why not? Hello, he waves cheerily as he scrambles aboard. This will almost certainly be further fleshed out in the full game, if I know anything about how this is likely to go down. Speak with the seasoned captains at the engine yards. Instructions. A grizzled captain who lost her left hand to frostbite is apparently a very common problem here, shares her wisdom. The skies are dangerous. News of distant ports is valuable. Collect port reports from the places you visit and deliver them to Victory Hall or Company House. They'll reward you, and the more you deliver at once, the more they'll pay. Look for other opportunities as you go, says a solemn stoker. There are always settlers looking for new homes, passengers who want transport, or rich men in need of bloody work. Not sure whether that's intended as a curse or a descriptor. Anyway, that's pretty much all that seems to be awaiting us in New Winchester. So let's go scurrying out of that port. Send out our flyer again, and head in the general direction of the northeast.